All right, guys, it is Friday, January 14th, 2022. Today marks 35 days I have left to get my 55 hardtop ready for Daryl Starboard's car show. So I posted the video yesterday of getting the engine block painted. Started messing with drilling the cylinder heads for the steam holes. Anyway, I'm going to finish up that today, try to get the valve springs changed and all that crap. Anyway, I wanted to go ahead and do a video of this car because I've got lots of new subscribers that don't really know nothing about it. I have a ton of videos on my channel of some of the buildup of this car. They are way down deep in there. I've probably got, I'd say, close to 500 videos on my channel. So, you know, once you go to my home page, you have to click on videos and then it'll open up. So if you're interested, some of the old footage is terrible cell phone footage, a little bit shaky, but it is what it is. I didn't have a GoPro back then, but anyway, this is a 55 two-door hardtop sport coupe, which is referred to as a hardtop. And in case you don't know the difference between a hardtop and a sedan, or what people call post cars, on a sedan or post car, they have a big post or frame that goes around the doors. They also have a post here, a metal post. On a hardtop, there's nothing here. So when the windows are rolled up on the door and on the quarter, it's a chrome frame around it, and they're really thin. So these have a lower roof line than a sedan. It is almost an inch. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's almost an inch lower of a roof line. They also don't have a tall stepped belt line right here. This is the silhouette of the body right here. A sedan has a raised belt line here. The other thing that's pretty identifiable on a sedan and hardtop is between the back glass and the trunk, you have a really wide panel. Sedans are just, you know, a few inches. So anyway, pretty big difference in the body itself. It does take the exact same dash, and all the cowl and everything is identical. It's pretty much the same exact floor, just an extra brace added in it. Hardtops have a brace right here. It's actually split to go to the tranny tunnel across here. And there's also one extra body mount per side on a hardtop. And it's for structure right here. It's probably right in here somewhere underneath. But anyway, so I acquired this car in 2013. I actually put out a one ad on try5.com. I was looking for a two-door hardtop project. I wanted good quarters. You know, I knew they'd probably be a little rough, maybe a little rust up here where they usually get, but I wanted fixable factory quarters. I also wanted paperwork with the car. I wanted a title, and I wanted to make sure the VIN plate hadn't been altered, like changed or pop riveted on or something. And anyway, I wanted to find a car that was pretty rust-free underneath. So anyway, a guy sent me some pictures of this, and I inquired about more pictures. I told him I wanted underneath the doors, underneath the quarters back here in the spot right under here. Because usually when you get up under there and look, you can see the back side of the quarter, a lot of it, and you can tell whether there's been damage and it's covered up with filler. Anyway, I wanted pictures of underneath the floor, the back side of the rockers, and all the body braces and everything. I wanted to make sure that it was, you know, in pretty good shape. I didn't mind doing a little rust repair, but I was looking for a pretty good car to start with. So the guy sent me pictures of everything on that side of the car, underneath and everything. Anyway, I messaged him back and I said, I need pictures of this side as well. And he said it was in the barn or shop. I don't remember what he said, but it's up against the wall and he couldn't get to it. So that's why I didn't get pictures of it. So I asked him if this side was just as good as that side over there, because I was highly impressed. And he said, yep, it's the same. And I said, okay, go ahead and bring it. He delivered this thing to me. We agreed on a price. He delivered it to me. 15-hour trip. So when he pulled up out here in front of my house with it on the trailer, I climbed under this part here first to look at it, and now I know why I didn't get pictures of it. It had been cut right here, up and around the gas door. I don't remember if it went around the gas door this way or this way, but they cut it right here, all the way over, down the back intersection there, and did a little half circle cut right here all the way to the tail pan. So this whole area right here had been put on from another car. Also, it was overlapped and they brazed it. And then you could see hammer marks where they had beat it down to get it level, and then it was full of filler. The filler was some places was that deep. So it had a lot of primer on it. on the quarters, you know, so it's really kind of hard to see in pictures anyway. So at that point, I'm pretty mad because I felt like I was pretty much lied to at that point. That's why I didn't get any pictures of the side. So anyway, I had told the guy we're going to have to work on the price, and he didn't want to go down on the price, even though, you know, that was pretty much a not accurate description of what I wanted. So I told him I would pay for his gas and he could just take it back home, and he said, I'm not taking it back home. So we were kind of at a stalemate there for a few minutes, and I got to tell you, I was pretty upset. So anyway, finally, I wanted him to drop the price another $1,000 so I could put a new quarter on this, and he finally agreed. We took $1,000 off of it, and otherwise the car was pretty awesome. There was still more bad, and there was actually something else bad that I found later. It wasn't super bad, but I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, the car was full of parts. It had been crudely thrown together just for delivery. It had 2 body mounts in the back, 2 body mounts at the front. The doors just had a few bolts in them. The trunk lid had a few bolts in them. Nothing was aligned. They just stuck it on there to deliver it, which I understand that. But anyway, the trunk was full. The interior of the car was full. The bed of his truck was full, and the back seat of his truck was full. So I would say I got probably, I don't know, 90, maybe 95% of the parts. It didn't have a windshield, which I didn't care. I was going to buy a brand new one anyway, which I did. But anyway, the car itself, I'll just show you right here. This is exactly when we unloaded it off the trailer into my driveway. That's it right there. So that is what it looked like. That is a 56 Chevy pickup front straight axle with mud tires. It is ratchet strapped to the chassis so it could roll. All the factory spindles, A-arms, all that stuff was in the car, but all the ball joints have been taken out. Somebody had blasted them and then primered them. So anyway, they didn't have ball joints in them, so you couldn't bolt them back on the car. So that's why he did that. That door, passenger side door, was original to the car. The trunk lid was original to the car. The front clip was not. This door was not. But that door over there was mint. This car was originally coral and gray. It still had coral paint underneath the bottom of the door. I didn't do any rust repair, and I don't even know if there was anything big dent-wise in it. Trunk lid, same way. It was mint. It still had the gray paint underneath the bottom of it. Underneath the car, the floor braces, the back side of the rockers, everything, it still had paint under it. So it was awesome. The car was in awesome shape. I did not do any floor pan work, no brace work, no back side of the rocker work. It was mint. So all the sheet metal I had to replace on the car was because of accident damage. I assume the car had been hit back here, like right on the edge. The rest of the quarter up in here was in good shape. It didn't even have any filler in it. But that back there had definitely been replaced. But this right here, where the hinges, apparently the door was open in the impact because it peeled the door backwards. And it had peeled the metal out right here like a sardine can. And that's why the door wasn't original to the car. Anyway, I had a parts car. I actually had 2 4-door 55 parts cars here. So I cut out some pieces here and I butt welded them in and ground it all smooth. I even replaced the hinges. The car did measure out square. It is exactly the same square wise, so I knew that was in good shape. But the other bad that came along was the rocker. And it was full of filler, and I didn't notice it until I was taking the body off the frame, but I don't know if it was from the accident, if it went into a culvert, or I don't know what happened, but this was crushed under here. Somebody had drilled a couple of big holes in the top of the rocker, and it looked like a steel bar had been used with a hammer to punch that out, and then just filled. So I ended up buying a new rocker, and I just basically, I left the front, but I just cut it right along this edge right here, right in the middle of this part right here. Nice flat little area to get to, finish out. And anyway, I replaced part of the rocker. But that is what sucks about restoring a car. You don't have to do that stuff for rust repair. You have to do it for collision damage or accident damage. So what I ended up doing back here was I removed the quarter panel, and on my 4-door parts car, I cut it up further than where their cut was. So this whole section right through here, this inner and all down the inside, I replaced from the 4-door. I put all of the trunk floor in here from a 4-door I had that was mint. I didn't have to do any repair on it. Anyway, it is taken apart at the factory pinch welds, and I did split it and butt welded up in here and metal finished both sides. So even if the car was stripped to bare metal, it'd be hard to tell the repair. But I went ahead and put a brand new aftermarket tail pan in it because it would have been seamed, and I would have had to work the backside, and I probably wouldn't have got it square anyway, so I just replaced it. But anyway, now the car is back where it needs to be, and everything's butt welded. And the other thing I did on this car was every bit of the lead got melted out. There's lead here, there's lead here, there's lead down there, lead down the tail light, and there's a big thing of lead here, also in the A-pillar up there. But I cut all of the flanges out of this, and I hand formed pieces of metal, and I butt welded them in level, and then metal finished it out. If this car was stripped naked, I mean, it would look awesome in bare metal. Anyway, so after all the metal work's all done, then the body's in pretty good shape. I ended up putting another quarter on that side, a new quarter, because that one had a little bit of a crease down it, like somebody took it off the trailer and it went down the bottom of it. I don't remember, but I just ended up putting 2 new quarters on it. And anyway, it turned out, now it's a nice car. Now the chassis, that's another story. When I got it out from under the car, I got to looking at it. It was actually from the VIN number on the frame, stamped on the frame. It was from a 56 Chevy, and it was from a sedan. It did not have the extra body mounts for a hardtop, and somebody had went through the effort of painting it. It was gloss black. The whole frame had been painted without a body on it, but the frame horn was bent, and it had a wrinkle back here. So that car, that 56, had been wrecked in the front pretty hard. So I used a 4-door 55 chassis I had here, and it had never been any accident damage. It was a very nice frame. I used that, and then I removed 2 of the inside 56 donor chassis body mounts and replaced them out here for this one that goes here. It is the same body mount, same exact body mount that is on a hardtop as one from the inside of the chassis, so it is the correct body mount for the car. And then at that point, I bolted it down with urethane energy suspension body mounts, and that's when I did all the metal work. I made sure the body was on the chassis and everything first. I even had a motor and transmission sitting down in it. But I ended up building an X center in the chassis like you'd see in the new model, newer aftermarket chassis. And then I commenced to doing all the smoothing and cleaning up of the chassis. And I spent several months on the chassis itself, and I smoothed everything and plated things in. There's a lot of work done to that chassis. I wanted a California seamless chassis, and I could not locate one that I could afford. So I ended up rolling with just my 2-piece 55 chassis. But anyway, I plated in the top section up here way down to where it goes underneath the floor pan. I did not do it all the way back. I just basically plated in all the top up here. And that way when the hood's up, it looks appealing to the eye. You know, it's clean looking. I built my own engine mounts, cross member. Every hole that's in this chassis is filled in. It's plated. Now on these chassis on these cars, there's all kinds of holes in the inside of the frame rails all over the place. Every one of them got plated in. I plated in the top of the frame rails here, plated in the side. I built these covers here to hide the bumper hardware. I put a crossbar across here with the transcooler on there, but it also goes into the radiator as well, so it's like a double-duty cooling system for the transmission. I built a lower air dam to go underneath the bumper from an original bumper. I sectioned it in several pieces, thinned it down, built brackets, and it actually will bolt on. I'm going to paint it trim black. It'll also make the car appear lower in the front. So I actually still got a lot of work to do on that. I got the body work started, I just haven't finished it yet. But anyway, it's just tons of work. I'm very proud of it. My idea was trying to make the chassis look like it was dipped and, you know, cast as one unit. So everything got cleaned up pretty good. The spindles, 2-inch Magagi's drop spindles, those are completely decast, primed, and blocked, so they're slick smooth. I did the idler arm, decast it, smoothed it, center link. I did all kinds of crap, man. I even smoothed all the welds on the A-arms. Now, I did not grind any of the welds on the A-arms. I just put filler right over the top of them and smoothed it out. So the A-arms appear to be molded in. And anyway, just tons of work, but I'm proud of it. It turned out good. I didn't have the money to buy an aftermarket chassis, so I just tried to make mine look presentable because I did want to put lights and mirrors under it at a show, you know, an indoor show. But anyway, it's come a long way. It is, in my opinion, it's a beautiful car, and it's going to get better, I hope. Hopefully just about a month, you know what I mean? I do get asked about the wheels a lot. These are Weld Racing RTS series wheels. These things are so lightweight, I could take that wheel off from standing where I'm at and throw it out here at the end of the driveway. It is that light. That's probably the lightest wheel I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, these are RTS series. They are a black center. The cool thing about these wheels is the back side of the hoop on the inside through the spokes. They finished it out just like this side. It doesn't look like it in the camera probably because it's covered in dust, because every time I wipe the car down, I just do the outer. I don't reach behind to do the back side of the hoop. But anyway, they need polished. You know, they're dulled out from not being messed with. But these are 18 by 9 inch in the back, and I could not tell you the back spacing. It was in millimeters. And I'm an inch guy, so I had to convert that to figure it out. I sold a car to buy these wheels. It took 2 months to get them, but I used the money from selling the car to get the rear wheels. And then like 2 months later, I ordered the fronts. Maybe a month later, I don't remember. But anyway, I sold a bunch of stuff I had around here and put some money I had with it to get the front wheels. Those are 17.7, and again, I couldn't tell you the back spacing. It's not going to do any good to tell you what all that stuff is anyway, because the rear end that's in this car is not original. It is narrower than stock. So these are 9-inch wide, and I have the leaf springs in the factory location, and it is not mini tubbed. And I have enough room to put my finger behind the tire at the leaf spring, and I also have plenty of room here for the wheel and tire. So these fronts are 17.7. I did relocate the A-arms, the lowers. I moved them in just a little bit, and that was basically to try to get a little bit more fender clearance when the wheel is fully turned all the way. You know, if you hit a bump or go up an incline sideways, like into a parking lot sideways, pulling off the road, and the wheel goes up full bottom out with the wheel turned, it would rub the fender well lip. So I did that to get the extra little, I think it was like a 1/4 inch or whatever I needed to get that. I didn't want a zero offset wheel. I wanted something that had a little bit of a lip to it. So, you know, it's almost zero, you know, straight, but I did get a little bit of lip out of it that way. But anyway, so I've done tons of stuff to the car. I mean, I've done everything myself. The only thing that I did not do to this car so far is the speaker box, which is right here. My neighbor across the street, Vandy, he's a wood guy, and he is very good at his craft. I actually asked him if I could use some of his woodworking tools to build a speaker box for this, and I think his polite way was, nah, I don't want you using my tools, but I'll build it for you. That was kind of how that went. I paid for the materials, but he built it for me, and it was pretty unique in the design of it. It's actually cut out here, but it's a half circle in the back, and it was to clear the magnet on my 6x9s. That kicker 6x9s in the back have huge magnets. It also has a divider in it, and he had to build a notch in it to clear the trunk hinge back here. So it's a pretty unique box, but I needed it shoved over as far as I could get it to get my Optima battery tray and battery over there. So he done that, and then this was my first Bode headliner. I had to get my mom and dad down here. They really were just kind of pointing and telling me what to do. They really didn't have to do any physical labor, but anyway, that was pretty cool. So I did get to do that, but I did have a little verbal help out of that deal. It turned out fantastic. I love it. There's no way I could have done that without them, because I learned a lot of stuff that I did not know. I've done a lot of headliners, but they're all C10s and G bodies that are just peel the old material off and spray glue the board and put new, you know, headliner material up there. And the other thing that I really didn't physically do is the measuring for pushrod length, because I was too scared to do it myself, and now I can tell you I will do it from now on because I know how to do it. Anyway, the car is, you know, it's come a long way, and I'm very, very, very proud of it. And I got a long way to go, and this is really a budget way to go on a car. I mean, I started this car project in 2013, and here it is, January 2022. So that is how long it's taken to restore this car and build it. But I have built a lot of project cars in between while having this car, and flipped them, got rid of them to use that money to go into this car. So man, it's been a long, hard road, let me tell you. So I can't really go through and show you every little thing I made or detailed or changed, because the video would be an hour long probably. There's tons of little detail things I did, but my whole goal at the end of it was to keep the car 55 Chevy. I always like my cars low, and I like the little bit bigger of a wheel. 18s is about my limit on a 55 Chevy. I like an 18-inch wheel. I do like to stagger my wheels, so I do like a smaller wheel in the front than the back. It kind of gives it that Hot Wheel look, and I like that because I like Hot Wheels still yet today. But anyway, I'm just proud of it, and I got to say I think that is the second. No, it ain't. The engine was. I was going to say the wheels were probably the second most expensive thing I bought besides the car itself, but it was the engine now. I forgot about that. Those wheels are, if you go to Summit Racing and do Weld RTS 18x9, those rims are almost $1,100 for one. The fronts are, I can't remember, $940, I think. $890, somewhere in there. They're basically about $900 for one wheel for the 17. So I'm not bragging because I had to sell a car to buy the stupid things, but this is the wheel I wanted. I wanted a little bit of black in the wheel to go with the black on the car, but I wanted more polished than black. And I loved it when I found them because they have the polished, down in here. And I really, really like that. But anyway, it's just a great looking wheel. Now I have Firestone Firehawk Indy 500 tires on it. I couldn't tell you the size. Unless it's sitting there. I don't remember. That was a long time ago, man. Anyway, it's 4-wheel disc brake. It's front and rear sway bar. It has drilled and slotted rotors, front and rear. It's got toxic shocks on it for lowered vehicles. All the way around, which I custom painted, had the paint mixed at the paint store for a new Dodge Charger or Challenger, that Destroyer gray, ceramic gray, or whatever it is. The shocks came as like a satin finish white, and I didn't like it. So I painted them that gray color. I made my own brake caliper covers here out of sheet metal, and I put chrome Bel Air dash scripts on there. And these, I drilled and tapped the calipers, front and rear, and they bolt on. But they have the correct, looking caliper style shape, but they do move with the caliper when the caliper moves in and out when you're using your brakes. But you can't even really see, it's too dark in here. But anyway, that is pretty much the 55. Man, it's long. It's come a long way, let me tell you. If you've seen the picture, it's come a long way. I am very proud of it. My main thing when I build a car that looks nice and the end finished product, what I have come to really find out is I'm a hardware guy. I like nice hardware in a car, like bolts and nuts and screws. So I wanted stainless steel in everything on this car. So I went with ARP 12 points everywhere I could put them. Some of the parts on this car wouldn't take them. So I changed them and welded square nuts in a lot of the front sheet metal just to take 12-point ARP bolts. So obviously there's places that you can't put them, so I had to use whatever I could, but just about all of the car, chassis, body, everything is stainless steel 12-point ARPs. Detail is that, it's that level of detail is in your hardware to me, just me, but I smoothed the door jambs, I plated in a bunch of stuff up here, I plated in the lower thing down here that doesn't match these 3 indents. I mean, I did lots of silly work, and I'm proud of it. I do have a separate video of the dash. It's like I don't even know how long, 20-minute video of just the dash mods. There's a ton of stuff I did to that dash, and it still looks like a 55 Chevy. I think I have 2 videos of my custom firewall, which is an original. I just cleaned it up, smoothed it. I welded steel bar in the channel and sharpened the ends to a point so it looks like a bead roll. That steel bar that I bent and put in there, and welded it completely both sides and then bevel ground it, and it looks just like a bead rolled firewall. There's no air conditioning on the car. I'm not going to do it right now. My idea is I want to keep the engine bay clean and sanitary and no clutter for the first season of shows, which is going to be all of 2022. And then after that, I may think about putting an AC system in it, but more than likely not, because I like cleanliness and I like, you know, in this car, I just want it to look so clean and easy to work on. Now, if I got an air conditioning system, it'd probably be for her car because she's really going to need that. But for me, not so much. I can live without it. I'll wear shorts and a tank top. It don't bother me to sweat a little bit because I'm a summer guy anyway. What else? This is black single stage urethane. This is Nason. I have used that stuff a lot through the years. I probably painted 2 or 3 Buick Grand Nationals with that Nason single stage urethane. I love that paint. It's not expensive either. That's probably the main reason I like it. But when you sand and buff it, it seems to hold out pretty good. Anyway, it's going to be a 406 small block Chevy, which is a 30/400 Chevy small block. I got a 700R4 automatic overdrive transmission. It's a 10-bolt 373 Posi. So it ought to run good. When I first started, it was going to be a car that I could drive to the drag strip and run, because I used to, almost all my cars, I've always raced them and drove them at the same time. A street car, you know, a nice little street racing car. But as I got further along with this car and gotten a little bit older, I've gotten to where I don't even like cars to be loud anymore. I like them to sound good. I just don't want them loud. And now I don't even care to race it. So I didn't really need those weld racing wheels now, you know what I mean? But anyway, the transmission, I decasted the housing on it and primed it, blocked it, and painted it. So I mean, just tons of little stupid stuff I did. It's pretty unique of a car. I'm going to be able to pick this car out at a show because I know it's mine, you know what I mean, with all the little separate stuff done. But I love it because I kept it a 55 Chevy. It's still got manual brakes. It still has a factory steering box on it. So that's stuff that I don't mind. I like that kind of stuff because when you drive these cars, you know, if they weren't factory power brakes, I've never had one with factory power brakes of all the Tri-5s I've drug in here, but that's just part of the experience of driving the car, and I enjoy that. So I drove a 55 four-door for almost 2 years as a daily. That was my only car I had. I drove it every single day. So when I don't drive a 55 in a long time, I miss it. So there's just that feel about it, you know, which this one being lowered with a pretty firm shock on it, it's going to be like a sportier car. I'm not saying it's going to be a sports car. I'm just saying it's going to have a sportier feel than a squishy old stock car. But anyway, that is pretty much the 55 up to this point, and I hope I can make that show. I'm pretty confident I can make it. That was one of the big holdups right there. So if the engine gets in there and I get it started and everything seems to be okay, you know, I can move on. I'm going to try to paint all the body parts here pretty quick. That way they can be curing out a little bit before I do the cut and buff on them. And then once I put the doors and all that stuff on, it's go time. I am going to have to polish the paint again from it sitting out here and getting dirty all the time. And then I'm coming out here with wet microfibers and wiping them down. It's got some light scratches in there from the rag. It just happens, you know. And so I'm going to go back in here and repolish everything. And then I'm going to put all the side trim on and the emblems and all that kind of crap. But my quarter moldings and door spears are polished. I've still got one more of the paint dividers to do. I have all of the door stainless to do around the wing window, all that stuff. I may have a few little pieces done, but I still have to sand and buff the lower windshield moldings, the back glass moldings, but a lot of the other I've got done. I've still got to do upholstery too, but I'm doing that here. But anyway, guys, that's a 55 hardtop where it sits right now. It was further along at one point because I had the 350 engine in it, and before it started knocking, got it running real nice, but now I got to start all over. But I don't need the practice, but I always seem to end up having to do it. It is fully dynamated. I might want to say that. For the whole entire floor is dynamated, and the roof underneath that black chrome dynamat. That's kind of how you tell right there. That is going to be awesome with a black car in the sun for heat. So I love that stuff. It don't have to be dynamated. Any of that stuff works good. But anyway, this is an Easy Eye glass. This is an original back window. This is one that come with a car. This car was originally an Easy Eye car. It was stamped on the cow tag. And when I bought the new side glass set with chrome frames, it is the green Easy Eye to match. So it will have the green glass, which I think is kind of cool. But Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I need to get to work. Thanks for watching.